I finished my brandy and ordered another. How the hell was I supposed to pay my rent after this? How was I supposed to eat? I could not go on working at Barnes & Noble selling textbooks to college students and romance novels to housewives. I couldn't. I realized that I was traveling swiftly from depressed to self-pitying. Maudlin was the next stop, but it didn't seem to matter. I felt like I'd hit rock bottom. An orchestral version of God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen came on the piped-in music, and I was fleetingly distracted. Or perhaps the brandy was kicking in, muting my misery. Weird to think we were listening to carols Dickens would have heard. He even mentioned God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen in A Christmas Carol. Why the fuck couldn't people ever forgive and forget? Why didn't they have the imagination or honesty to see that there, but for the grace of God, goes any of us? I squinted thoughtfully into the distance. Angela Coots. Why was that name so familiar? Why had Dickens dedicated that Christmas book to her? Dedicated it? Apparently he'd written it for her. The only copy in existence, or at least that anyone knew of, was the one he'd penned for her. Literally penned. 80 pages of penning. A novella. A Christmas novella for Angela Coots. A few more people wandered into the bar and then wandered out again. I checked my watch. 5:30. It should have been more crowded given that it was happy hour. Maybe the rain was keeping people away. Or holiday shopping. I considered ordering a third brandy, but not only did I not need a DUI for Christmas, I was going to regret drinking the week's food budget in one afternoon. Undecided, restless, I turned my glass on the counter. I got that feeling between my shoulder blades, the feeling you get when you're being watched. I glanced around. Nobody was watching me, but Sedgwick Crisparkle was seated in one of the comfortable leather chairs, reading the newspaper. I stared down at my empty glass, my heart pounding as hard as if I'd had a narrow escape. Why? Whatever Professor Fizzwizzle believed, I had every right to sit in that bar and drink myself stupid if I chose. I considered going over to his table to straighten him out on a few points, and was unnerved at myself. I didn't want another confrontation with him. I had no doubt Crisparkle would unhesitatingly rip me a new one in public if I annoyed him for even an instant. That kind of press I could do without. But the inexplicable desire to explain myself to him persisted, annoyingly. What did I care if he had the wrong idea about me, especially since it really wasn't that wrong an idea? I might have been innocent of any wrongdoing in the Strauss affair, but the difficulty of finding work afterwards had led me into more than one, let us say, delicately nuanced transaction. Nothing illegal, but rather close for comfort, and getting closer all the time. There's nothing like being treated like a crook to make you start thinking and behaving like one. I wasn't a crook, but I wasn't a choir boy either. I nursed my drink and thought firmly about getting home. Home to my cold, lonely studio apartment and the never-ending concert by America. Right after I called Mr. S. so he could give my job away to another book hunter. Right on cue, the piped-in music chimed in. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. There was a ripple of alarm through the bar tables. I put it down to the idea of the restrained strings and harps giving way to Elvis Presley, but I caught puzzling movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned on my stool. An ocelot stood about a foot away, staring at me as though he'd just scented prey.